Brought to you by Cumberland Electric Membership Corporation.
Hi, we're the Shire Brothers, and you're listening to WSGI AM 1100, Springfield, God's Informer.
Hello. This is 1100 WSGI. I'm LaVern, and yes, this is one street over. You know what we're doing. What's happening? One street over from where you live. And if you're in Robertson County, well, you know, you're living right. It is a good thing. It is a good day to be in Robertson County, y'all. And we appreciate you joining us. Oh, in the house, I've got Abigail and Gwen are here. And I'm even going to try to say your last name, Abigail. Sacic. I always get it wrong. But my friend Gwen Earley is here with Abigail Sacic, and they are two of our veteran service officers here in Robertson County, and we just appreciate y'all so much. We've got a soldier that we're wanting to honor with the wall up here at the cemetery. Yeah. Well, it's not. They don't. This person has never indicated that they had any problems from Agent Orange, though we think they did, but doesn't want to claim that, right? He's older. But we want to get them on the Vietnam wall that's there. And because any of them that came home from Vietnam, they were injured in ways we can't even imagine just because of the way the country treated them. You know,
they're injured in ways that they don't even.
That's true. That is very true. So, that is very true. But we just would love to honor them. You know, something that I don't know if it was the VFW. There was somebody told me, I guess it was one of the guys with the VFW, I can't remember which one of them it was, said that the Vietnam veterans were not allowed to be a part of it during the time of Vietnam. There was a reason why there was a Vietnam organization that formed, because even some military organizations did not honor the Vietnam veterans when they were returning.
That's crazy.
That I hadn't heard.
That's something that, and that blew my mind. I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And one of them said that, and it was on the air, and that's why I'm saying. But I can't remember the specifics of it. But it was one of those things I intended at the time. I was like, I need to look into that.
Yeah.
because that to me was very interesting. But I was like, I had never heard such a thing. That was bizarre.
Yeah, that would be above and beyond. You know.
So if I have somebody that is close to me and I want y'all to kind of see if y'all can pull some of his records, you can't do it without their consent, can you?
Right.
Correct.
You have to have that person. So okay. All right. That's what I thought.
Now to get their records, we can get them from the National Archives.
Yeah.
We can get
But we have to have permission to do it
Okay.
Yeah.
By them.
by them.
So a family member can't
Or,
say
yes, a family member can come in and ask for that.
so
Not if they're alive.
Yeah. Well, for genealogy stuff, you can. I've done it with my dad. So
When
But-
he was
but-
living.
yeah,
her. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Because it's
Interesting.
It's like us, requesting records for them. I can.
Okay.
If you're a family member, you can.
Interesting. Well, because we just want to, honor this person, and we were just trying to think about how to do it, but we don't want to, we don't want to do anything we shouldn't. You know what I
Right.
mean? We
Yeah,
want to be very
exactly.
careful about
Yeah.
that. So
He's okay with his name being on the wall.
that's one thing we don't know.
Oh, okay. We'll see that you would. I would check with him to see if that's something that he would want.
Yeah. That's one thing, because we had talked about that, and I said, this may not be something that he wants to be a
yeah,
part.
exactly.
And because a lot of the older folks, they're like, I got home with all my bits and pieces,
Right.
I'm good.
No, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. Because they know how hard it was.
Mm-hmm.
And this person, man, he was in the thick. I mean, it
Wow.
was rough stuff
Yeah.
that he dealt with.
Yeah.
Real, because I mean, we've learned enough and been told enough about his service time to know how hard it was, how difficult it was.
Even I came across some pictures of my dad that he took while he was over in Vietnam, and looking at them, it's not what I pictured at all.
Right.
I mean, he was at Nha Trang, at the Air Force Base there, and he walked to work. I mean, apparently it was along the coast.
Huh.
And he walked to work. And I'm thinking, that's just not something that you think of in Vietnam in wartime. So
Yeah.
it's like there's a lot of things that just are just kind of, we don't know because we weren't
Right.
there. But yeah, so.
Speaking of Vietnam, this is something, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you or not. When my husband and I first married, we lived in a house up in Hendersonville that we rented before we bought our place here. We were only there a very short, because our twins were a year old when we moved to Robertson County.
Yeah.
So we married in 88. I think we moved to Hendersonville in 89 and then moved to Robertson County in 92. So we were there just a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the stuff that had been left in the attic was just a lot of junk.
Mm-hmm.
So they let us clean it out. Well,
They allowed you the privilege of cleaning out.
yeah, pretty much, because it was a rental property, and they're like, yeah, whatever you want to do with it, because it was kind of in the way.
Right.
As we were doing whatever we were doing with it, we came across pictures from Vietnam. Lots of pictures from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And of course, we didn't discard them. We wanted really badly to try to find the family
belonged
member who they belonged to.
Yeah.
And at one point, I had when we were running our roofing company, because, we had a roofing company for 20 years, we had a woman that worked with us in the office that her husband was retired military, just deep military family. It was all during 9/11. It was during the 9/11 time period.
Yeah.
And I had thought I had given them to her to take to Fort Campbell, do something. What do we do with these pictures? Because they're part of archives. And they're just, a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
And I had thought that I gave them to her. I came across them again.
Oh no.
I've got them.
Wow.
And they're in my barn somewhere.
Yeah.
So guess who's going to get them when I find them again? Y'all.
Right.
Would that be appropriate? Because I don't know what to do with them.
Sure.
I don't know what to do with them. And they need to go somewhere because, I would
Have you taken a
love.
look at them? Have you gone through them?
Oh, yeah, many times. And
They're not labeled or anything.
nothing.
Oh wow.
Nothing. And, now with face recognition, though, it makes me wonder if we could not, because there's a soldier that's prominent throughout them. So I think they're his.
Definitely is.
So now with technology, what it is, if we could do a facial recognition on
research that property, who owned that property.
well, we tried that.
Didn't come
Yeah, and we at the time, but we went back to the people who owned the house as a rental property, and we tried to track it down and had no luck.
Oh, wow.
'Cause that was the only avenue we had at the time.
Yeah.
We tried to find the owner of these pictures because the reason why one of the reasons why I really wanted, it's really still kind of a thing I want to take care of. I talk a lot about my friend Donna Hagen.
Yeah.
Her brother that died in Vietnam, and just a true hero. Her and John, they made a donation of some furniture to something to do with our ministry at church one time.
Yeah.
And the people who came to pick up the stuff, John and Donna were not there. And they said, well, just get this, this, and this. And they gave them instructions. They inadvertently got something they weren't supposed to, which was Donna's hope chest. And it was full of all of her memories of her brother. And
She never got it back.
No. And the only reason they figured out what had happened is because they had this yard sale kind of thing at the church to raise money, and John's diploma was in there. And somebody called John, they're like, your diploma is laying out here. And they're like, what? And so those pictures and all the letters, tons of letters.
Yeah.
I've heard Don talk, just were gone. And at the time, I was still on radio in Nashville, and we talked about it at the time and said, if you happen to come across these, please let us know. And the thought is they probably just got thrown away, which is just tragic.
That's so sad.
But you never know.
Yeah.
Because here I've got these pictures that somebody would love to have them.
Sure. Yeah.
And
letters are,
yeah.
irreplaceable.
Yeah. And so, but I think about that and I think, oh man, if we could just, if they were to turn up somewhere, because people keep stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a few people at church that I know they keep way too much stuff. We won't call them hoarders, but
They're sentimental.
yeah, but they keep a lot of stuff. And so part of me wonders, maybe one of them bought the stuff and it's somewhere in their stuff.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I just would think it would just be beautiful if we could find those, because you never know. But I'm not going to just discard these pictures.
No,
I'm not.
no.
So y'all want them?
There may be a VFW that would love to have them. There may be American Legion that would.
Something.
Scrapbook or something.
I will say one time when I worked at Cheatham County, I was the admin there. One project I took on myself was one time a veteran came in and brought me like a plaque, an award, and it had someone's name on it, and they were like, I don't know this unit, I don't know this person, I found it in the trunk of a totaled car.
Wow.
Here you go. And so we put it on the shelf for a while because it was beautiful, and I took it upon myself to try and find that person, and you know what?
Did you find them?
I found that person.
That's so cool.
They were on Facebook.
That is, well, but see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Now, because of Facebook, that's why I'm wondering if, and now these are pictures that were, taken, in the 60s and then developed film. So you can imagine, and so you can imagine the quality is not super awesome,
Right.
And it was whatever they had over in Vietnam, so the quality is not great.
Yeah, that's my dad's pictures. They're all black and white.
Yeah, exactly. These are all black and white pictures,
Yep.
and but I'm just wondering, and I'll have to find them again, and hopefully they're in a safe place because we've moved some, clearing out Mom and Dad's house.
Right.
There's so much stuff at my house right now of theirs and mine that need to have a new place.
Right, you have
We
to
need
sift
to
through
just,
them.
and just trying to find stuff. And Cope has been wonderful. We've taken them a lot of stuff because, that's that way. If you don't know about Cope, by the way, guys, that's a local thrift store that you can take your stuff to. Good stuff. Don't take them junk. I try to be really, really careful. Sometimes I'll just give them a box. I'm like this, whatever. But you try to really do this. Make sure you're taking them good stuff that they can use. They have a dumpster right there if it turns out to be something that they can't.
Yeah.
But every penny, there's no administrative cost. They have nobody on staff. Every single penny that is raised through Cope goes to help people with utility bills, help
In
people
Robertson
with
County.
rent,
Yes.
with mortgage. People get behind on bills. They need food. That's what every penny raised through COPE goes for.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I try my very best to make sure that's what, I mean, so many, my mother collected so much stuff, and I was able to take so many of her little collectibles and things and give them to them. And that would just thrill her. 'Cause she did not want us to have an auction. She was like, she just hated the idea of people going through her stuff and all of that. And, you know, and so we didn't, Mom, Dad, we didn't. We just given it away. And it's been fun. It's been fun.
And it's helped
been
other
fun.
people.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I don't know. I went down that rabbit hole because I know those pictures are there. They're Vietnam pics, and you guys are going to get them if I can find them again. They're there somewhere
We'll take a look at them.
amongst all the stuff. So what are we talking about today, ladies?
I have no idea.
I was thinking on the way here.
You're so funny.
It came up yesterday because I had 2 appointments yesterday.
Yeah.
And something I get asked all the time: what is service connection? The types of service connection, and how does VA establish it?
Okay.
So if you
There
want,
you go, Abby.
we'll
Let's
do
go,
a
Abigail.
class right now.
So these are they're from the Veteran Service Office. If you just missed that in the very front end, we have them come in on the 4th Wednesday of the month to make sure of the things that are going on that affect our veterans, because we are so veteran aware here in Robertson County. We have the best Veteran Service Office in America.
That's what we hear.
In America. In America.
We have a gentleman coming in next week from Elizabethton, Kentucky.
Yeah, because they can't
Driving all
get
the way
help
down
somewhere else. And my son's been fortunate that, you know, Jedediah, because he served, and he came in when he got out, he went to school in Cookeville. And they apparently have a good one office too, because they have been super helpful for him in taking care of, you know, using the what is it called where you go to get your education? What is it?
The GI.
The GI Bill. Yeah, accessing the GI Bill, so he got his education, and he's done
How long has he been out?
I don't remember. He served 4 years, went to Afghanistan, all that. But, you know, so he was there. He was in Afghanistan at the end of Obama's administration. Well, no, he was in the Army at the end of Obama and through Trump's push to clean things up.
Okay.
He was in Afghanistan when they dropped the MOB, the bunker buster.
Yeah.
That they dropped there, that they've recently dropped in Israel, or not in Israel, in Iran, many of them. Yeah. But there was one they did in a terrorist site where he was. And he goes, we all went, what was that? Yeah. And the you know, upper commanders went, it was us. And they're like, cool. Because it was like,
as long as we know it's us.
They knew something was coming.
Yeah.
But they weren't expecting it to quite rattle them to the point that he goes, oh, you have no, it was just huge.
Wow, that's amazing.
You know, but they just, they felt it. They were, you know, they're close enough to it that they knew it was happening. Yeah. And, but yeah, he said, wow, that was crazy. But anyway.
So service connected.
Service connection.
I'm sorry. We're going down rabbit holes. But we were talking about what a wonderful office they are. And if you've got a veteran that's been served well, then you're very blessed. And these guys will serve you well. So go Abigail, before I go down another rabbit hole.
So firstly, what is service connection?
Yes.
That's your rating. So when you get connected to service, that means your disability is related to service, and that's what gets you granted a percentage. That percentage equals money, and that's what they all want, right? That's your compensation rate.
Right.
Okay. So that is service connection. Disabilities have to be service connected in order to get that compensation.
Right.
Okay. So types of service connection, there's 4 types of service connection that we can go for. The main one is direct service connection, and that means your disability, what you're diagnosed with, is directly related to service.
Right.
Jumping out of airplanes and your knees are shot.
That kind
there
of
you
thing.
go.
Yeah. The next kind is a secondary connection. That means your disability caused by service caused something else. So like your knees are shot and now your hips are shot because your knees are shot.
You're compensating. You're compensating for bad knees.
Yeah.
So now your hips are affected.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
So the other kinds are aggravated. So an aggravation service connection is you had something prior to service and service worsened it.
Okay.
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 So you were diagnosed with whatever it was beforehand. You had a bum knee before, and now it's worse
because you're carrying
of service.
60 pounds of
Sure.
so stuff on your back.
Yeah, you're rucking and marching and all that stuff, and now you're whatever's worse.
Okay.
The fourth kind is presumptive connection, and that is the Agent Orange guys, the burn pit guys, Gulf War illnesses, radiation exposure, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that toxic exposure, that leads to the presumptive illnesses. And that's what everyone's asking about when it comes to PACT Act and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's your 4 types of service connection, if we can relate it to service, connected. Okay? So the, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. How VA establishes service connection, they have to have 3 pieces of information. And I usually tell people, we're going to paint the picture to VA. Okay? You have to have your current diagnosed condition, firstly. VA can't rate something unless it's currently diagnosed. Okay? Current disability. And by current, I mean medical records within a year is going to work for that. Then you have to have something happen in service. So if we're directly connecting, I got to have an injury, something we can point to, a service treatment record, something was diagnosed while you were in.
And sometimes that's where we have a problem because these are manly men and they get
to the
hurt
doctor.
and they don't want to go to the doctor because then everybody in their unit's going to, rib them and whatever because they're going to see it. So sometimes that's very difficult to.
So if there's not a service record that shows it medically, which is ideal,
Right.
We can still prove it. It just takes a little more work. So it's going to be your statements, your personal statements, your lay statements, your buddy statements, that sort of thing. It has to be corroborated that way.
Right.
And more the merrier when it comes to buddy statements, because if we can get friends that saw you that way, that proves your story.
Okay.
he
So
was-
buddy statements are people that served with you.
Yes.
That okay.
Your military buddies.
He jumped out of the plane. He was limping for a week,
Yeah.
but wouldn't go and see the doc.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
obviously something was
Toughed
wrong.
it out.
He wrapped it up. Or,
Yeah.
he was taking.
I got it. I'm putting some dirt on it. I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Okay.
And then that third piece of the picture we are painting is the nexus. And nexus just means link. So we're linking your current diagnosis to your military service. That's the middle portion that's going to link it all together. So usually that's going to be done with a medical opinion. VA can give these medical opinions when you file a claim, but those opinions are usually the ones that get you denied because they got to have it very clearly there to give a positive one. Now, ideally, we can get a doctor that actually treats the veteran to write a letter. And that connection can be proven with medical literature and medical reasoning.
Studies and stuff
Rationale
like that.
has to go into it to show this makes sense medically
Okay.
to link these together. That's how a nexus is linked. The other way is if for some reason we can't get a doctor to do it or whatever, you can prove a nexus link through records if you have that many records throughout all time. It just is tough to do that way when we're dealing with Vietnam era or something because we got 40 years to prove that you've always had this condition. Most people don't have that. But a lot of the newer ones might because they're fresh out. But anyway, if we can prove throughout time that this has always been a problem, that establishes the link.
Okay. So, I mean, it's not, that's the reason why you've got to get into your veteran service office. If you've got anything going on, you've got to, bring your records in, get to your veteran service office and get this done as soon as you can, because you may be denying your family some benefits that they could, it could really help them, and you earned them.
Yeah, you've earned it too.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is a lot of people misunderstand the PACT Act.
Yeah. So explain the PACT Act.
Just because you were in Vietnam or just because you were in around burn pits,
right,
does not mean that it affected you. Some people think that, well, I was there, so therefore I should be compensated for it. No, if it had an adverse effect on your health,
right,
that's where we come in and we're able to help you out with that, because a lot of people say, well, I was there. Well, are you suffering from anything? Has it affected you in any way?
That's that current disability portion.
Yeah.
So like that, having that presumptive connection means that you have one of the conditions recognized by the law now. You were there, and that's the connection.
So would it be beneficial for somebody who was exposed to say, hey, I want to go ahead and get my records. I don't have anything now, but I want to get this established because we know that some of this stuff is coming up, 20 years after the exposure.
Right.
Yeah, you can get
or Vietnam, 50. I mean, it's been, you said 40. I'm like, oh, it's 50, darling. It's been longer than you think. Because I was just a little bitty one. And I'm saying, it's been more, it's like 55 years.
To answer your question, the way that they would do that is to go get the toxic exposure risk exam from VA.
Okay.
So that's how they get into the burn pit registry, the Agent Orange registry. That has to be done at a VA facility.
Okay. So there is an exposure. Okay. That's interesting.
You can do I think it's a questionnaire online for the registry that you can do, but to actually get the evaluation for the conditions, you can do that at a VA facility.
Okay. Interesting. Well, see, we said we didn't know what we were talking about, and we've had some really interesting conversations. The big thing is anybody. I still meet veterans that'll have a Vietnam hat on, and I'll say something about, did you have any exposure? I mean, I will ask them the questions. Do you know about Agent Orange exposure? Do you know what they're doing for you? Do you know and there's still people who don't, because they just don't talk about their service. They'll maybe put the hat on because.
But the most interesting thing that I find,
but they don't talk about it,
is a lot of the veterans that we help, and even some of the ones, because we get the request for the 214s, the DD 214s that is your service record. This is where you were. This is what you did.
Right.
For funerals and things.
Right.
And they may not be connected, but they don't have that piece of paper to get the military honors. And it's always interesting that even if it was 4 years, that's in their obituary. Mm-hmm. They were a proud veteran.
Yeah.
My dad served 20 years. Well, he that was a huge part of his life. But yet, even if they only served 2 or 4 years, it's always something that they want to make sure that people know.
Yeah.
It's part of their identity.
Yeah.
Is being a veteran.
No matter
it doesn't matter how long.
Yeah,
I've
no matter
had
how short the
that
time it is.
6 months active duty.
Yeah.
But it's still part of their identity.
Yeah, for sure. We're talking with Gwen Earley and Abigail Sacic. Okay, I got it.
There you go.
Got it.
So what's the origin of that name again?
Oh, my husband's Bosnian.
Yeah, I was going to say it's cool. It's Bosnian. That's cool. But anyway, so we're talking about all things veterans related. You would kind of think, we'll need to do a break here in just a second, but you would kind of think with 4th of July coming up, there'd be all kinds of things that you are tied into, but not necessarily. That's just, we've got the Freedom Fest that's happening a week from tomorrow.
The 3rd.
A week from tomorrow at the fairgrounds, and it will be fabulous. So you want to be a part of that. But then everybody kind of just takes some time off. So everybody can take some time off and, enjoy their families and reflect on the fact that we are the most awesomest country, and God has blessed us greatly. And
yes.
So thankful. Say again?
Have you seen that documentary movie that came out, The American Miracle?
No.
It's great. It's all about what you just said. The fact that God has.
Who put it
blessed this
out?
country. Oh man, I can't remember.
The American Miracle. Now I got to do the Google master. I'm telling you, Google, you are a wonderful.
Only we had a device.
I tell you, it's so funny. I was talking to my husband this morning. We were talking about doing something because we're doing some improvements in our home right now, and I said, isn't it amazing what we can just learn to do online? And my dad, my father-in-law, they would have just lost their mind. They'd have been like, it's so cool, because they passed before, it was really a big thing. I actually Googled something the other day, though, and Google fussed at me. That's an inappropriate question. It was a question about some celebrity type person, and I was just like, is this and this? I was just curious. Well, that's not an appropriate question. I was like, well, la-dee-da. It's like the nanny state on Google. I'm like, I just was curious. I'm just like, I like to know people's backstory.
I didn't know Google had parameters.
I know, but it was just the funniest thing. That's you shouldn't ask that. I'm like, really? I'm asking Google. I'm not asking them on the radio. But, sometimes we're curious about things, and we
ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you looking it up to see who?
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all do that while I do some commercials here.
Go for it.
Let's do that. Okay. So what we want to talk about right now is we want to before we get off into too many other things, Martin's Chapel Barbecue. This weekend, it's June 28th, 4 to 8 p.m., $15, get you a plate. It is not all you can eat. I know that Mayor Vogel in here was saying one of them was all you can eat. But as Brenda was telling me yesterday, you're going to have all you want to eat, because we're going to load you up. And this is the one of the legendary red potatoes and homemade pies. So I'm going to do my best to go over there and get a plate. And it'll be my Sunday dinner, though. It will not be my evening dinner. My husband and I are trying to watch our, intake and all that. But anyhow, this is a fundraiser for the church. I'm sorry, I'm going down rabbit holes today, y'all. I don't know I am so distracted. Focus. All right, so you got the Martin's Chapel Barbecue happening this weekend. You've also got, we'll have Martha's Song. They're coming in tomorrow morning to talk about the Martha's Song benefit. It's the self-guided tour of gardens. And then we're also going to have the mayor of Cross Plains coming in to talk about the Trash and Treasure event that's happening in Cross Plains this weekend, Friday and Saturday. But the thing about all these things, the garden tour is self-guided. This is in the evening on Saturday. And then you've got the Trash and Treasure thing that's happening Friday and Saturday. You can do them all. It is going to be a fun weekend here in Robertson County. There's just so many fun things going on, and you can just make a good weekend of it.
Just bring your water, because it's going to be
It's going to be hot. So, yes, stay hydrated. And those Barry and Rebecca reached out to me, because they're Cross-Plainians. Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. They are Cross-Plainians. And so they reached out to me.
Plainer. Is it Plainians or Planers?
Cross-Plainians. I like Cross-Plainians. Don't confuse me, Gwen. But Cross-Plainians, and it's so funny. We had with the Trash and Treasure event. It is just a lot of fun. I mean, I love those kinds of things. You just see unusual things. You meet some, talk to the local folks. Barry and Rebecca, they're always out there because they want to just talk to you about what's going on in the real estate community, and they will give you a free market analysis. This is something they were doing at the Kilgore Festival. They've got their computer with them, and they can do a free market analysis on your home to let you know what the value is. So if you want to, if you're thinking about buying or selling or whatever you're doing, or maybe you just want to know for the equity to maybe if you want to get an equity loan. We're doing some home improvements, and it's about kind of do we have enough cash on hand to do what we want to do, or do we want to take out an equity loan? Those kinds of things. They can help you answer all those questions, and they will be at their tent, and they said we will have lots of water, and we'll have a place for you to cool off. They're going to have extra chairs. I don't think they're handing out water, but there'll be others that will be doing that. But they'll have chairs in the shade so you can take a break. And they're also going to register for something cool. They always have some really cool prize that you can come by and get. And so they'll have something for you to register for there at their booth. So go by and see them at Trash and Treasures this weekend. They're going to be there Friday and Saturday. And again, we're going to have the mayor of Greenbriers coming in, or not Greenbriers, Cross Plains. Her name is Marlene Graves. Marlene Graves, she's president of the Cross Plains Heritage Commission, and she is in charge. They're in charge. That group is in charge of the Trash and Treasure, and she's also the mayor of Cross Plains. So she is going to come in and talk to us about that tomorrow, but we're also going to be talking, like I said, about the garden tour and all the things. But the big thing I want you to take away from this little bit right here as we always say, if you need help in real estate, whether you just have questions about, okay, I want to buy, how much home can I buy? They can help answer those questions if you're wanting just to keep an eye on the property next door. So if it sells, you have an opportunity to maybe expand your property or get some road frontage like we're trying to do with our property on the back side of it. You can give them all your crazy questions. I had the question about, do I need title lock insurance? And Barry's like, that's free. You can get that free. Just by going, it's like, I'll tell you what it is real quick. I've talked about this the last couple of ads, but I think this is so important because we see those ads and we think, oh, do I need that? And he's like, no, it's mylandalert.com. You can sign up at the Robertson County Register of Deeds website. They have a link and it's free. You don't have to pay for that. Isn't that crazy? I mean, all these things people try to sell you.
Yeah.
And, but anyway, just a plethora
Our
of
services.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Right?
Isn't that the truth? Veteran service always trying is like, we will help you with you don't have to do that because it is a free service through the Veteran Service Office. But again, that's something that, those crazy questions that I love to ask my realtors, Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. You can connect with them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com or by BUY. RobertsonCounty.com, or you can give Rebecca a call, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Always please let them know that U-Turn sent you. And getting right back into the show, it's so funny because if you go to Barry and Rebecca's, go to Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty, their Facebook page, and they have a picture of this giant chicken that they're standing next to. Wonder what we're going to give away.
Chickens.
I don't know if you can see that or not.
Giant chickens.
Yeah, and it's so funny. They're at Tractor Supply, I imagine, or somewhere, because Tractor Supply has all this kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because whenever they were at the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival, they gave away, it was like they had a rooster and they had a lamb, and I forget what else they had. They had 3 of these little ornamental things. A cow, was it a cow?
I don't know.
Maybe.
The cow would make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. But anyway, they had 3 farm animals made of this tin. They were really cool and they were quite popular. Everybody wanted them. Mm-hmm. So I got a feeling they're going to have something equally popular when I'm looking at this big chicken behind them. It's a great picture. But I'm like, I wonder what they're giving away.
That'll be the neighborhood landmark.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if it's a giant chicken. Everybody's going to want. I have a student, bless him. He is just, and he's graduating. Love him to pieces. He's serving. He's already signed up. I'm not going to say his name, but wow. He inherited some money. We'll just leave it at that. He inherited some money, and bless his heart. Every time I turn around, he goes, "Look what I bought, Miss Vivio." Please stop. He came in right.
You may want to save some of that for later.
He's doing good. He's got a financial advisor, and he's doing good. But he comes in right at the end of school. And he goes, "Look what I bought! It was a giant rooster." And I was like, "Please stop spending your money like that." He goes, "I just had to have it." I was like, "Okay."
Alrighty.
It was a giant rooster.
If you had to have
he's so funny. He just tickled me to pieces. But look what I bought, Miss Vivio. I was like, "Stop spending so much money." But anyway.
So the American Miracle was in theaters June 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Okay. And
unless it had an extended.
But we can, I'm sure, find it. I wonder if we can get it in time for the 4th of July.
Well,
on Prime.
But it was based on the book by Michael Medved.
Oh.
Yeah, and he actually was in it.
Yeah.
He helped narrate.
Really?
It's a docudrama, so it had like interviews with the professors and writers and everything throughout the story to like tell what's going on.
It was called what again?
The American Miracle.
Can I show that in my classroom?
I don't see, probably with Michael Medved, you probably would not be.
It's very
prohibited from it.
Christian and God-centered, so I guess I would check on that.
Well, yeah. And I wish we could do that because I mean we taught out of the Bible when we began as a country, y'all. But
exactly.
I mean we did.
That was the textbook.
We did. Yeah,
you learned your alphabet from.
Yeah. But I just and I'm anyway.
The summary of it says the American Miracle is a journey through some of the most significant events in America's rise to power, reliving the improbabilities that demonstrate what the founders always believed, that events unfolded according to a master plan.
It's all a master plan, y'all.
Sure.
So
Everything in this world is a master plan, even the hard things. So
it follows the story of George Washington through the American Revolution.
George Washington and the things that happened with him, the bullet holes in the hat and all that. Glenn's just really into all that, and y'all know that Gwen and I have the Glenn Beck connection, and I had the honor of working for the Blaze for a couple of years. It was just such a wonderful adventure, but it was a little crazy. But it was just weird.
It's Glenn Beck. He's a little crazy.
Well, no, he's awesome guy. He's so, I know, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but great experience, great guy.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't supposed to be down there though, but I was glad to have the experience that I did. But nonetheless, he was really into all this at that time, still is.
Oh, he collects all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of stuff. And, David Barton with Wall Builders, they're just dear friends. I had the opportunity to work with David Barton. What a wonderful man. Wonderful man.
His ability to remember things is just
incredible. Incredible. But the stuff that they do along those same lines, if you've never really learned the story of the miracle of things that went on around
this
Washington.
Movie would start it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to watch it because anything we can do. We're just like whenever we had Constitution Week, I had a project for my kiddos where they put together a video presentation of the Constitution. Those are things that they where you overlap subjects, they like that. Right. So if I can bring some social studies and history and things into my program, all the better. Right. And so that's something that I did. And so we can overlap things. We have to be super careful about the faith issue, and that just continues to blow my mind. But
especially when it's a fact.
Well, and we can put the 10 Commandments. We can just make displays of our faith now. But but we're not there to teach them a Bible lesson and all that kind of thing. But if they ask, we certainly should be ready to give them the reason for the hope that we have, and have that on our. We should be ready because kids ask me stuff because they know that I go and do mission work. They know that I used to work in a church. Right. They know that I'm still very involved in ministry. They know about the Celebrate Recovery work we do. They know I'm on the Recovery Court Board, all of these things. So they ask me a lot of questions. And if they ask you, you can do it. But I don't, like I said, I'll have to review it and see if they'd let us show it. I bet if it's...
to me that this is historical enough that it would fall more into a historical category, not a Christian category. But
okay.
You'd have to
I'd have to look at it and see.
And there is a book. So
yeah,
it is a book.
It's based on a book. So, all right, well, very good. I mean, this is all good stuff, but that's a goal for us this 4th of July. So check out that presentation. Do me a favor, Google and see when it's going to be available for purchase or whatever. I mean, if it was in the theaters for a few days, and it was early this month, right?
Yeah, it was.
So you said it was in June. I'd be kind of surprised if they didn't maybe bring it back through the theaters during 4th of July. That would be a fabulous idea to me. But I would think it would be available. Usually you can go on. Anytime I'm looking for something that I want to purchase, I go to Prime or I go to Amazon and try to buy it, and it'll give me kind of the guidelines. How can I see this? Right. Yeah. And that's usually, because I very rarely go to the theater. I usually wait until I can get it and watch it at my own leisure because I have a short attention span, if you haven't noticed. Very short attention span. And it's getting shorter. It's getting shorter. My poor husband, he's like, we'll be talking.
Wait, what were we talking about?
Yeah, he's like, hold it. What? Where are we? How did you get there?
Where did we start?
Where did we go? Where did the road turn?
It's like a YouTube search.
Oh, yes, it is. I wear the U-turn name very proudly. I make lots of U-turns in my conversation and go all the way around, back in circles and circles. We're talking with Abigail Sacic and Gwen Earley. They are with the Veteran Service Office, the Robertson County Veteran Service Office. It is awesome. We are the best in the country. What are the hours of operation, Gwen?
We are there from 8 to 4:30. And we are in the new Robertson County Plaza building.
With the mayor.
Yes, across
County mayor.
Across the hall from Billy Vogel.
He's fun, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he is. He's a lot
Love
of fun.
him. He's such a hoot.
We've got parking in the back if you are handicapped or disabled in any way.
Okay.
Just to let you know, don't get intimidated by the front steps that come up to the building. You can go around back and park in the back with the handicapped. And
Okay,
there's a
full
doorbell.
access.
Yeah, just doorbell, ring that, and we'll come back and get you.
Oh, okay, that's a good point because
Yeah, some people miss that, and we've got a lot of people with canes, and they're battling those steps, and it's like, oh,
don't do that. Come around back.
yeah, it can. Next visit, make it easier on yourself. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're there from 8 to 4:30. The phone number is 615-382-6506. 615-382-6506. And we usually take appointments Tuesdays and Thursdays. Those are our appointment days. We've got a morning and an afternoon slot. Wednesdays are walk-in. So we need
Walk-in Wednesdays.
we need to skedaddle out of here to get the office open this morning since we're both here. And Scott, our fearless leader, is he's on vacation for a couple of days.
Well, good for you, Scott.
So it's just the girls today.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, Mondays and Fridays are kind of open. Probably best to give us a call before you come down if you just want to pop in.
Okay.
Just so whoever's in the office. Monday it's Abigail. Friday it's Scott. And they're off on the alternating days. So,
and tell them why.
because it takes a lot of time to put together a claim. Mm-hmm. You've got research. You've got to make sure that you've got the medical records to back up what they're saying. You've got to make sure that they were there where they said they were, at what time periods. Are you still working on the blue water? There's a term, blue water,
right?
Which is via.
Those periodically. It's not something that I'm always working on.
Yeah.
What is that?
Blue Water Navy was one of the laws that came out with VA, I want to say 2021, I think. And that's where VA came out with the law in which Navy guys that were close enough to the island within 12 nautical miles, then they were also exposed to Agent Orange.
Okay.
And having that exposure, obviously, we can get those issues connected.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
But it takes research to
A lot of research goes into that because you have to, there's maps and things that you can plot the points of ships on the internet and you can figure out which ship was where closest within the time period of Vietnam and all that stuff.
Well, and then, so for you and Scott to be able to do that, you need a day without interruptions because anytime you're in an office next to Billy Vogel, you're going to be just interrupted all the time.
It helps a lot to have that at least one remote day where we can really dig in and get that research done.
Exactly.
Digging into service treatment records for that part of a claim it takes time, energy.
It's
and
a lot.
Sometimes they're coming in with 300 and 400 pages of medical records.
When y'all talk about the things you do, paperwork really makes my head hurt. I'm not kidding. My
head hurts.
It's one. I was talking with my director for CTE yesterday, as a matter of fact, because it's I made a very, very public confession that I dumped water on my school computer and just and I've lost my stuff. And he's like, Ms. Vivio, you need to back that up on OneDrive. I'm like, I know, and all these things. And so we were talking about having to read the paperwork and all this kind of stuff. And I was at technology yesterday with Thomas Burko and Mr. Hooper and all those, talking to them about the nuances of trying to recreate all of my stuff. Yep. And just makes my head hurt to think about it. Mm-hmm. But it's just part of it. So, and what I'm talking about, the paperwork I'm talking about is nothing compared to the scads of stuff y'all have to go through. Yeah. So God bless y'all.
Some of it's
that's a lot.
Some of it's old, so it's not real readable.
Yeah.
Well, most of the service for treatment records are handwritten.
Yeah.
So we're trying to read doctor handwriting most of the time.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe if, you know what? Since y'all are good at that, I actually, my daddy passed away very suddenly, way too young. And he was just incredible with our genealogy in our family.
Yeah.
We don't have it on record, but we haven't even had his handwriting, but we can't read it.
It's in the cursive code.
It's in the cursive style.
The cursive.
It's this weird language called cursive, and it's not. None of us are masters at it anymore. No. And but yeah.
So,
You know,
yeah,
I bet there's an app that would help me decipher. You know, that's
Probably.
such a crazy time now that we have all this AI stuff. I'll bet you. Y'all
You
might
can probably
need to.
take a picture of it and just ask ChatGPT.
Honestly, have y'all thought about doing that with some of the things that are hard to read? How AI could help you guys decipher some of this stuff because it's
probably
pretty
could.
stinking cool.
It probably could, but we have to be accredited to even look at that stuff. So I don't think asking AI would be within our wheelhouse, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Because when you're that's a
When
good
you
point.
ask ChatGPT, it saves everything. So
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's a
that's
good
true.
you
point.
probably don't want to.
Yeah.
With
Oh, yeah.
somebody
We have
else's
some
records.
privacy. You would have some real serious privacy issues. They'll address that though at some point, where you can use that stuff even in privacy. I mean, and it might even be
It'd be its own AI program for
like
private.
a Snapchat kind of thing. where
yes, something that I could see the military. I could see the military even publishing something that says, "Okay, use this," or if you had your veteran sign off and saying, "Hey, we're going to use AI to help
It'd be a
decipher."
military AI specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
That only people with certain like PIV accreditation could
I
be.
got to tell you, AI is it's a little scary, but it's really cool too. I actually asked AI the other day because my family, you know, both my mother and my sister died of cancer, and I just have this long list of people that I pray for that are dealing with cancer. A lot of kids, you know, and so I just hate that. I hate that C word so bad, and so I don't know. I asked Chat the other day. I was like, "What's the cure for cancer?" And had it was very interesting what it put out. And, you know, well, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, and all these different studies. It was fascinating, quite frankly. And then I turned around and I said, and because it was a question it asked, and I said, it said something about they're constantly getting, you know, closer to better treatments and all this. And I said, well, your artificial intelligence, shouldn't you be able to figure it out? And it was like, that's a very interesting question. And do you know that because of some of the things that we're doing, that we might be getting, it might help. In other words, it gave me a little bit of like hope that they're going to be able to use AI.
So AI was basically saying, we're working on
AI is kind of basically saying,
I'm working on it.
We're working on it. And I thought that was fascinating. It's something that I talked to my kiddos about, that there's a thing called the knowledge doubling curve. You've heard this, okay? Yeah. And the first time I heard about it was from a preacher who was concerned about the knowledge doubling curve, that there's so much out there and it's confusing our kids. I find it absolutely fascinating and encouraging because it gives us access to everything.
Options.
And now it can be used for evil, but God's going to use it for good.
Oh, sure.
But the knowledge doubling curve basically says that prior to 1900, if you discovered something new, it took 100 years for it to span the globe, for everybody to be able to have that information. I equate it with my kiddos. I have a kid that grew up with my kids, and she does cancer research. And I said, so if this young woman, if she, Dr. Katie, if she had some fabulous discovery and she publishes it, and it's the one piece they need across the globe to finish their research, and together they have cured something,
right?
How long would it take for her information to get to them? And 100 years ago, or in 1900, it would take 100 years. But because of the advance of communication, and it got shorter and shorter as you came up through the 20th century. But now, instead of 100 years, the speculation isn't, again, this is theory, is about 12 hours, and I think it's less than that to span the globe.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just so, quick. But anyway, I think that's fascinating. And the things that you are researching and what you're doing, it's only going to get easier. But I think because of AI.
Yeah.
I want to point
think it
out
would help.
with AI, it's really, I mean, obviously it's learning, it's created to learn on its own, but it's only as good as the information it can find.
Exactly.
And
That has
I have
access to.
found a problem with that because it's pulling misinformation about
Yes,
something.
it is sometimes.
So
you
you
have to
can't
really
always
be careful.
trust AI either because it's telling you something is fact.
Yep.
But it's not necessarily fact. And I figured this out actually on my own because a veteran came and said, and copied to me something from Google.
Yeah.
Okay. And I Googled the same thing, the question he was asking, process of deduction there.
Yeah.
And I Googled the question that he wanted to know. And I figured out that what he copied me was the Google AI. And, Google AI was incorrect.
Yeah.
And so I had to go in and tell him, actually, that's not right.
Right.
Here's VA's website. Here's the real info. Here's the law. And AI is not pulling from that. AI is pulling from things that are published.
Yep.
Attorneys publish, random people publish. Like, you have to be careful.
Yeah. For sure. And I mean, and that's one of the things, but it just, when you think about the research y'all have to do, I think it's only going to get easier with you do have to be very, very careful though to make sure you get accurate information. That's a very good point. We need to pause for a second. I do want to remind you that this is Wednesday. So that means that we will have another full hour of local programming with Lee Marie and the Ghost Show. She's been out. She's been doing some traveling and different things. And so it's going to be good to have her back at the helm. But Lee Marie will be, at least I'm assuming she's coming on in here today. But, she's also chiming in that maybe Susan Hunter might like the photos because she speaks to a ton of veterans at veterans events. So maybe she's the one who did the letters book, that's wonderful stuff. She's writing some wonderful stuff. That might be a really good idea. Yeah. We were talking about some pictures and stuff that we found from Vietnam when we cleaned out home we used to live in. But beside that, we need to pause and talk about the UPS store, not just the place to drop off your Amazon packages, y'all. It is a cool place. Probably one of the coolest things that I discovered at the UPS store this is at 513 Memorial Boulevard here in Springfield. But one of the coolest things that I discovered is everyone in there are notaries. If you need something notarized, every single person in the UPS store is a notary. And you just randomly need something notarized out of the blue.
Sometimes they're hard to find.
Sometimes, yeah, because it's certain hours. And I can remember when we used to have to go to the bank and get something notarized, and I've done it at the library. And in my teaching stuff, where I had to get things notarized to send in for my certifications and all of that, and then, of course, with my parents' estate and doing some things with back in Kentucky, we had to get some things notarized. And all I got to do is go into the UPS store. Everybody in there's a notary. And I used them a couple of times just in the past year as, going through mom and daddy's stuff. We had to do some notarizing and stuff from all of that. And how handy is that? I mean, that is awesome. And I mean, you can go by their hours. Let's pull up their hours real quick. Let me just mention those as we kind of get on into it. Why are they not coming up? Let me find the hours. But they've got all kinds of specials. Okay, here we go. Hours opening soon. It's not giving me the hours. I'll find them in just a second here. But see if you can find the UPS store hours for me. But their special this month is 10% off yard signs. And then they have the $250 Amazon gift card giveaway that they want you to come in and register for. But they are just an awesome new sponsor of our program. They also sponsor Lee Marie's Go Show. But we do appreciate them so much. And again, we just want to continue to remind you that they are not just the place to drop off your Amazon packages, though they do that and they do it beautifully. Their hours are Monday through Friday. I found them, but thank you. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Saturday, they're 9 to 5. And then on Sunday, they're open from 12 to 5. So many great services that they have in there. They've done some graphic work for me. We did our...
they do our business cards.
See? All this stuff.
They did a great,
all this stuff.
They did a great table drape for us so that when we go to local events, we've got.
So they did that at the UPS store.
Yeah. Yep.
Everything. You can have a mailbox there.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about porch pirates if you have your stuff shipped to the UPS store.
Right.
You name it. Mm-hmm. They got you covered, and they can ship all kinds of odd things. I wanted to send a mimosa tree to a friend of mine down in Texas, and I thought, I bet they can help me package it up. I've got it rooted.
Oh, yeah.
Because they root all the time, and she loves mimosas, and she's lost hers. And I'm like, I'm going to send my friend a mimosa tree, and I'll bet you they can help me do it, and do it in a way that it will get there and be safe. And what are you doing? Lee Marie's coming in here being so silly. What about we're getting flocked for Martha? This is Martha's song. This is what you're talking about, right?
All the birds.
Did you get flocked somewhere? Who got flocked? We did. You did get flocked. I love it. This is all part of raising money for Martha's song. And Martha Song Garden Tour is coming up this weekend, and it's self-guided. I love it. And even if you don't think that you can go, just buy tickets because it's all going to cancer patients in Robertson County. Anybody that's dealing with cancer. And so please, please, please. And AI hasn't cured it yet. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you missed that. I asked AI a cure for cancer, and it was quite interesting. But all the things. Parting thoughts, ladies, before we go, because Lee Marie's going to run us out of here.
Come see us.
Come see us. Yes.
In the Roberts County Plaza building.
Yep.
In the Robertson County Plaza building. And anything else from you? Give them the hours again, Gwen, before we go.
Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30.
Monday through Friday.
615-382-6506. 615-382-6506.
Very good. Thank you, guys, from our Veteran
We
Service
might be
office.
a little bit late this morning.
Better get going. Better get going. And as we wrap it up, I just kind of, again, we were talking about UPS store and we got a little sidetracked, but be sure and go by and see them. Just love everything that they're doing over there. They've been just a great sponsor for Lee Marie's Go Show, and now one street over as well. Their number is 615-384-0093, 615-384-0093. They're at 513 Memorial Boulevard here in Springfield, and just the nicest people. I mean, they're just the most courteous, nicest people ever, ever, ever. And their shirts are my favorite color. So just like this. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a fabulous day. Lee Marie and the Go Show coming up next.